This news program is proudly brought to you by
Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits
and Now Biscuits.
Landowners in Medane receive truck. Department of Petroleum and Energy National Content Policy. And vehicle of missing policemen in Hela found. Good evening. You're watching National EMTV News. I'm Rocky Iso. Thank you for joining us. We begin with news on landowners in the Medane province and the Saya Clan landowner group under the Ramuniko management and located in Uya village along the coastal slurry pipeline corridor of the Ramuniko project in Raikos district of the Medane province were the proud recipients of a Hino truck from Ella Motors through a loan from the People's Microbank of the National Development Bank through their royalty payment for 2021, which was paid in July of this year. The clan were the first to receive their truck among 5 other clan groups within the project impact areas that have also secured loans from the People's Microbank. The clan used the yearly royalty payment portion as security to be eligible for the loan. As part of its corporate and community responsibility, the Ramuniko Management Limited has continued to assist local impact communities, and this week it was a truck issued from Ella Motors for Saya Clan, based on the money that was loaned from the People's Microbank and the portion for Saya Clan of the total royalty payment from Ramuniko for 2021 that was made available on the 21st of July this year, 2022. Saya Clan leader and truck caretaker Kaba Ira said the clan never thought it was possible until the truck was made available to them earlier this week.
Mika like look sikarno mikisi. All pama papa all toto tumas na. Dito ka kaya ban tak siamla BNP number problem. And tram base lumina. Yes same kama. So bibla amama so same company zasul ya maslongen. Thank you straight. Pante NDB. All no talk no gat lumino gat. Yes lumino. Thank you.
The truck can now be used for mobilization of landowners to various important meetings to do with the mine, and at the same time the truck can be used for other income-earning opportunities.
Monday maximum background place. Monday morning make up pick up. Afternoon make up. Tomorrow make a couple of small passenger. One make also.
Ramuniko's Community Affairs Officer said there are 5 groups that have already secured loans from the People's Microbank branch in Medane, and they're the pioneers of this new strategy that the impacted communities of the Ramuniko project are now starting to do.
This line all pioneer group, all by setting sample kind example, entire clans along the slurry pipeline corridor. So hopefully next year and onwards by planting by trying being him same coming chat lo same approach lo small sample assets lo base lo royalty payment.
Ramuniko Mining Limited assisted Saya Clan with recommendations and confirmation letters to apply for the loan in September, and Saya Clan is the first clan from the other 4 who are still waiting for new stocks from the supplier. Stakeholders, government entities and NGOs gathered today to discuss the National Content Policy White Paper, which the Department of Petroleum and Energy has been developing and is working on to present the white paper policy to the PNG government's National Executive Council before the year 2022 ends. The major validation process event in checking the soundness of the document before its presentation was the stakeholder consultation workshop, which was held today and hosted by the Gas Projects Coordination Office and facilitated by the Department of Petroleum and Energy. Petroleum industry players, government departments, NGOs and other stakeholders gathered together to consult, discuss and pave a way forward on the important overarching National Content Policy White Paper the Department of Energy, or DPE, has been working on. This morning's session saw the DPE present its overarching national content policy to those in attendance. The Commerce and Industry Department also presented its national content policy. Simon Phillip, the Principal SME Development Officer, spoke of the importance of the department's policy.
Our draft policy is with the Secretary for clearance, and then we will go for wider consultation, sector by sector, and then our people must know what is national content plan and what are captured in that policy will benefit to our country and our people. And we look forward to incorporate once the wider consultation is done. We will incorporate to our national content policy book, and then later we will go for legislation to guide that policy, and it's become one of the important policy for this country.
With the policy implementation earmarked to begin in 2023 and the presentation to NEC to be made in December 2022, the Department of Petroleum and Energy was seeking feedback from industry players in a matter of weeks. Representing the industry players was the PNG Chamber of Mines and Petroleum Senior Vice President, Director of Corporate Affairs, Richard Casman, who spoke of the need for wider consultation to be done as no substantive feedback could be given, as this was the early stages of the National Content Policy paper.
From the industry, we will collectively we will have a workshop at chamber level, and it will include mining because we across this is across all of us, and then we will work to provide formal feedback to yourselves, and we're considering engaging with the department before we put in a formal feedback. And then that won't stop individual license holders to write to the department as well.
The importance of the National Content Policy White Paper is that it will add value to the industry in the socio-economic space for the nation's development in wealth creation and employment opportunities, to name just two benefits. Turn update to the missing policeman in Hela province and the vehicle that Senior Constable Nelson Kalimda was driving when he was missing has been recovered. According to the police, the vehicle was recovered within the premises of the residence of a prominent figure in the Hela province. The residence was left vacant during the recent tribal fights in the area.
Hela Acting Provincial Police Commander Chief Inspector Robin Bore has confirmed by phone today from Tari that locals within the community, especially from where the vehicle was found, are gradually coming out to supply information to the police. PPC Inspector Bore explained that the vehicle is still intact and in good condition with the keys in the ignition when the vehicle was recovered. He further said that there were no traces of bloodstains or other visible evidence found in the vehicle when it was first recovered. Deputy Commissioner Special Operations Donald Yamasombi, when addressing aggrieved family and friends who gathered at the Red Sea Police Barracks yesterday, assured them that police are just as concerned as they are and are working around the clock to locate their men.
Management belum RPNGC slip. Time commissioner itok sa belomi long Monday, Tuesday mi organize him na director of SSD one time assistant commissioner of operations Samson Kua I fly over igolong Tari. He got work come up Iran finish. He got some progress mi working finish, but also master mi talk. Time investigation I mean run. Me no nablo talk ibla when something investigation ni karamabim because something complete, finish. You family police can understand him this la.
Yamasombi added that police officers have a duty to abide by the guiding principles in times of official deployments.
Number one, talk. Me must talk. Me pla we stop inside this la uniform. Time me pla join him this la profession. Me pla walk him oath. Good pla time no good. Me pla serve him this la country na people belong him. Time me pla go out serve him this la country na people belong him. He got rules, na guidelines when people behind him, time people walk him walk. Sometimes you know can throw my lucky go out nothing.
Senior Constable Nelson Kalimda of Mobile Squad 4 was escorting the Hela Provincial Education Examination Supervisors to and from the Margarima Secondary School for the students' exams. It was reported that in the evening, after returning to the base camp, Senior Constable Kalimda left his colleagues and drove out by himself and has not returned since. Investigations are continuing. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
Independent think tank, the National Research Institute of Papua New Guinea, has found an increase in migration combined with natural population growth had seen rapid growth of urban settlements spilling over into peri-urban customary land in Port Moresby. This process has been fueled by the shortage of affordable residential housing.
RI finds that though unplanned settlements on state, private or customary land is illegal in Papua New Guinea, there is growing evidence of informal arrangements between landowners and settlers, where migrants employ creative strategies to obtain and maintain access to the land. According to NRI case study, the Tarama Urbanization Pilot Project 2012 was intended to develop customary land at Tarama Valley as a suburb under a partnership arrangement between the government, landowners and developers. However, that project was abandoned when landowners disposed land informally to settlers before the project could be implemented. Landowners informally released their land as a result of the following: lack of understanding of the purpose of the project due to lack of consultation and engagement with landowners. Landowners wanted to save customary land from what they interpreted as alienation and offered an opportunity to earn cash for meeting livelihood needs. Due to these reasons, the informal customary land transactions resulted in the following impacts: conflicts between landowners and settlers for selling the same plot of land to different people. Security of tenure is not guaranteed for future generations of settlers, and conflicts between landowner families over decision on land disposal and how the cash is distributed. NRI stated that the state needs to facilitate a process for landowners to work with settlers so that they can maintain ownership of their land and collect ongoing rental dues from settlers. Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after a break with more national stories. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. We continue with more national stories, and financial security in households throughout the country is a must to ensure economic growth and financial stability among families. With economic independence as its province's main agenda, Maprik District is thriving in all sectors for economic growth and development.
To ensure economic growth starts with individual families, the Maprik District Development Authority is taking the lead in implementing the breadwinner model concept in its district. Maprik District Administrator Joshua Himina said financial literacy is the way forward for the people. Mr. Himina said to make sure every family lives above the poverty line of 790 toya per day, educating them on money management skills through financial inclusion trainings is the district's main focus.
Our drive in terms of our economic intervention is basically to take back those families that are living below the poverty line, to make sure that they have sufficient disposable income in one day. Above 7 kina is better.
Himina said in Maprik, the financial literacy trainings are facilitated by the Bank of South Pacific and the National Development Bank. The training is provided by the district for its people and is hosted monthly at the Maprik District Resource Center, free of charge. He is encouraging the people of his district to make use of this free service for the benefit of their families and to improve individuals' money management skills.
I'm trying my best to look at how my administration in terms of delivering the programs in support to our member from Africa, the programs that we are running. How do we live? How do we make sure that we leave no one behind in Africa? That's the biggest question in terms of looking at the Sustainable Development Goals.
Jimena said teaching them saving culture is the most important aspect of the breadwinner model concept, which focuses on improving family units by providing much-needed financial trainings. Florence John Duo, National EMTV News.
The Public Service Commission has launched its Anti-Corruption and Integrity Strategy 2022 to 2025 today at the Holiday Inn in Port Moresby. This was a collaboration between the Public Service Commission and Transparency International PNG through an MOU that was signed in 2021.
Through the partnership between Transparency International PNG, the Public Service Commission was able to develop a strategy containing 4 key objectives and 8 key priority areas for implementation. Chairman for Public Service Commission, Apio Sioni, said the 4 key objectives are promoting and strengthening honest leadership, ensuring compliance and accountability, fostering an anti-corruption culture, and building capacity and maintaining effective people management systems.
What PSC expects to achieve from the strategy is a strong culture that values, promotes, and rewards honesty and ethical leaders, that the compliance and enforcement of PSC decisions within the mandatory time frame are strengthened, internal mechanisms to detect and counter fraud and misappropriation are strengthened.
Mr. Sioni said the reality in PNG is that people have lost confidence in the systems of governance within the public service. He said, therefore, the public service must convince the people that the fight against corruption is still worthwhile and that is something the public service is serious about.
The Public Services Commission is serious about its anti-corruption stance. Therefore, we have aligned ourselves to other institutions of integrity who are promoters of good governance and are at the forefront in the fight against corruption.
CEO for Transparency International PNG, Arian Kasman, said it is a milestone achievement for the public service to launch this strategy, stating the strategy is homegrown and suitable for the public servants of PNG.
The overall objective of this project is to strengthen public trust in state agencies. This can only be achieved in collaboration with government, civil society, media, and the private sector.
The Public Service Commission acknowledges TIPNG, Dr. Michael Span, and Dr. Camille Shah of Square Circle, and extends the acknowledgement to the European Union for their support and input throughout the development of the Public Service Anti-Corruption and Integrity Strategy. Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
To an update of the conflict at Kiruna in the Milne Bay province, and the Milne Bay Provincial Police Commander Peter Barkey has confirmed that a heated argument escalated into a 3-hour fight on Monday, October the 24th, 2022, in the Trobriand Island of Milne Bay province, resulting in deaths and several people seriously wounded. Mr. Barkey said the fight broke out after an argument between the coastal and inland villages following a soccer match that the locals took part in during the independence celebration a month ago.
Mr. Barkey said the National Maritime Safety Authority assisted police with a boat on Monday evening, and on Tuesday morning, a section of 10 police personnel were sent to the Trobriand Islands.
To me, that the situation in Kiruna is now stable but tense. They informed me that fighting has stopped on Monday at about 2 o'clock to 2:30 in the afternoon. Villagers went back to their village to perform their customary obligations on mourning and burial of their relatives.
Superintendent Barkey says more police will be dispatched to conduct more investigations into the instigation of this conflict and to support people on the ground.
All these are just reports, not confirmed yet or not properly verified. The figure stands at about 22, but we expect that to go up. This is because some of those people who have been seriously injured in the fight on Monday, the fight actually went on for only 3 hours, from about 11 o'clock to about 2 o'clock, and fighting ceased at about 2:30. So there were people who were seriously injured but did not have access to medical facilities.
PPC tells MTV News that police on the ground working with local leaders will verify information from various sources, which includes the number of casualties and people injured.
No fighting. Although there is no fighting, but the situation is still tense. The good thing is Lucia Station is now returning to normal. Business houses are opening up for business. People are coming and going.
Superintendent Barkey assured the general public that there will be a way forward in resolving this conflict. Barkey encouraged the people of the Trobriand Islands to respect the law and allow justice to take its course, and also to respect each other so they can continue to live in peace and harmony. Sharon Engnui, National MTV News.
BSP's strong business performance across the group was maintained in the third quarter of 2022, with group net profit after tax of 672 million kina compared to 699 million kina for the corresponding 2021 period. This sound performance was achieved notwithstanding BSP having expensed the additional company tax payment of 190 million kina, which was introduced this year. According to BSP Group CEO Robin Fleming, the company's underlying profit growth reflects the improved economic conditions in the region, resulting in loan growth of plus 5.6% and increased transactional activities, which has contributed to non-lending fee income increase of plus 14.3%, despite BSP continuing to reduce its fees.
Overall group expenditure increased by 15.1% in Q3 2022 compared to Q3 2021. This higher level of expenditure was driven by additional roles being created in retail, operations and compliance teams to support customer growth, more effective compliance, higher channel-related costs, contributing to the higher channel revenue raised above, and property maintenance costs. With the support of its shareholders, BSP is pursuing a judicial review to challenge the constitutional validity of the Act, given its material impact on shareholders' returns. Nevertheless, the 190 million kina tax was paid on the 30th of September 2022 into an escrow account held with Bank of PNG, pending the outcome of BSP's legal challenge to the Act. The full 190 million kina was taken up in BSP's first quarter accounts. Despite the above, Mr. Fleming stated that BSP Group's key performance ratios remained strong, with cost to income improving to 37.7%. He added that BSP's capital base remains robust, with total capital adequacy at September 2022 at 23.3%, in line with September 2021 levels, well above the minimum Bank of Papua New Guinea prudential requirement of 12.0%. Group return on equity was 27.1% in Q3 2022, impacted by the Act. Mr. Fleming also said that irrespective of the 190 million kina additional company tax, BSP has expanded its branch network, with Eriku branch opening in the first week of November 2022, NCD Lending Center in Port Moresby in December 2022, Telefomin Hybrid sub-branch in the first quarter of 2023, and Double branch in Western Highlands in the first half of 2023. Mr. Fleming concluded that BSP remains the largest and most profitable bank in the South Pacific. BSP also continues to deliver sustainable growth, as evidenced by its strong year-to-date profit results. Esther Gane, National MTV News.
And now taking a look at the NASFAN market report, the kina closed unchanged at $0.2840 in the interbank market this morning. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.2765, 0.4234 Australian dollars, 0.2672 euro, and 40.10 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York closed, gold is trading higher, coffee, cocoa, copper and palm oil trading lower, crude oil is trading higher, and copper is trading lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones, the ASX 200 and the All Ordinaries closed higher. National MTV News continues after the break. Graduation for pioneer students at a local school. Those stories and more after these short messages. Stay with us. Welcome back to National and MTV News. We continue with more of our national stories, and a total of 223 grade 10 students and 165 grade 12 pioneer students from Butuka Academy Secondary School in Port Moresby held their first ever graduation ceremony today.
The pioneer students have done well in their secondary studies after enrollment since 2019. Butuka Academy Secondary School gained its secondary status in 2019. The school's principal, Jean Ifuda, says changing the mindsets and attitudes of students academically were the focus of teachers.
Importantly, resilience comes with attitude. Positive attitude will take you far and wide. You may be academically sound, but with poor attitude, you face hardships in all walks of life. And therefore, attitude comes with humility.
Speaking on behalf of the graduates, the school's outgoing head boy Joseph Farejo encouraged both the incoming and continuing students to prioritize education.
Here is now the outgoing head boy of this secondary school who says his experience after completing his secondary studies.
Thank you. The experience of completing the secondary study is very, meaning the secondary life is very challenging, coming from societies, even for Butuka Academy in this location. Butuka consists of students that comes from different walks of life. Some comes from parents that work, some comes from parents that don't even work for money, and challenge faced by these students in this school is very tough, but as one of them, we completed this year successfully. Our encouragements to all the upcoming students, life is not as easy as how other people achieve their goals. Life is hard. The other people's life is designed to be easy as how they achieve, but it is not that you see them and you say that your life will be like theirs.
He says their education journey has not ended here, and they are looking forward to continue their studies next year.
And City Governor Pawes Pakop, who also attended the ceremony, thanked the Chinese embassy and their government for being supportive in building this school. He challenged students to make use of every opportunity that may come their way to continue their studies.
Embrace those ideas and make it real in your life and in the life of our city too.
Attainment certificates were issued to graduates for completing their lower secondary and upper secondary studies. Family members, loved ones and parents turned out in numbers to witness this occasion. Jim John, National MTV News.
Still on graduating students, and a total of 34 students graduated with certificates today at the PNG National Research Institute after completing 8 weeks of studying economic policy analysis course. These graduates are professionals and private and public sectors with first degrees who have registered under this course to learn the economic and public policies on how to implement them with the help of the government.
The conference room at the PNG NRI in Port Moresby was fully packed with the graduates and their families and friends for the 33rd graduation ceremony. The acting secretary for the Department of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, Dr. Francis Ualupmomi, said these graduates have been equipped with approach to design good policies, analyze policies and effective internal policies with the alternate objectives of making a positive change in the lives of those who have been affected by the policies. He said with the Vision 2050, this course is very important for the country.
Note that EPEC
also includes training in broader public policy areas like education, law and order, and gender issues, among others, besides the core economic policy areas. This is important because we must see things as a system and solve them by understanding the linkages between different sectors of the economy and society.
Among the 34 graduates was David Peter from the PNG Ports, who spoke on behalf of them, thanking their lecturers for the knowledge that they have imparted to them. He stressed that while learning, they can differentiate the theory aspect of policy and economic and the practical aspects, which is so helpful for them to make a positive change.
Lectures in terms of land ownership and gender issues. These are very issues that are very close to us, and these are issues that we sometimes try to understand and to interpret in many different ways. And we have had many discussions with our lecturers, and we said, this is the way we feel, this is the way we think. And the lecturer said, this is the way the world views, so this is the way we are doing in PNG.
The PNG NRI Director, Dr. Osborne Sanida, concluded that he is confident that they have learned a lot within the 8 weeks, and they are equipped with the tools to design good policies, analyze and evaluate policies, and effectively implement policies.
The gap between policy and implementation, so it's a challenge now. How do you now apply the knowledge so that you can improve, or we can improve the implementation of policies? With the analytical tools that you have learned, I urge you to conduct good inquiry in terms of research and analysis, and informing and influence public policy and implementation of these policies wherever you are after this graduation.
Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
Moving to overseas news, and Russian President Vladimir Putin has accused Western nations of playing a dangerous and dirty game by backing Ukraine and arming its forces.
In a speech strong on resolve to continue his invasion, Vladimir Putin put the onus squarely on Kyiv and the US to decide if or when peace talks should be held. Mr. Putin also accused the West of nuclear blackmail against Russia to force allies to turn away from Moscow. He declared the world is entering its most dangerous decade since World War II.
We are standing at a historic frontier. In front of us is probably the most dangerous, unpredictable, and together with it, important decade since the end of World War II. The West is unable to unilaterally rule humankind, but is desperately trying to. But most world nations are unwilling to accept it.
There are signs the Iranian government is cutting off internet access as part of a crackdown on further anti-government protests.
Ongoing demonstrations over the death of 22-year-old Masha Amini in police custody have now spread across the country. In the northwestern city of Mahabad, protesters tried to occupy a bank, a tax office and other public buildings, but were beaten back by police. They're calling for an end to the Islamic Republic, the boldest challenge to the clerical leadership since the 1979 revolution.
National EMTV News continues after a break with Trukai Sports. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Some sour news for the PNG Kumals before the next game against Wales. Barnstorming forward Mackenzie Yeh has been suspended, and the decision was made by the World Cup Committee. The verdict is currently pending, and the Kumals are yet to make a statement if they will appeal.
In my opinion, Bossy, there's a quarter.
Following the PNG Kumals' first win of 32-16 over Cook Islands in the World Cup,
Kumuls prop Mackenzie Ye is on one-match ban due to high tackling attempts displayed by Ye, according to the charge, during the fixture.
So 2 tries to...
This sanctioned decision on Ye is currently pending decision should PNG Kumuls choose to challenge it. The charge is described as high tackle reckless tired to tackle under Law 15.1b of the World Cup Code of Conduct.
This year and
This decision was sanctioned by the World Cup Committee as the Kumuls prepare to take on the Wales next Tuesday in round 3 of the World Cup. Meanwhile, previous matches of Kumuls and Wales as far as the Rugby League World Cup is concerned, Wales has not outplayed the Kumuls. Therefore, PNG must now defeat the Wales to book a spot in the quarter-finals, which will most likely pit them against host nation England. Lisa Puni, Chukai Sports.
Chukai Sports continues after the break with more sports stories. Stay with us.
Chukai Sports.
You're watching Chukai Sports. We continue with a local sports story. Trophy House, in partnership with the Port Moresby Basketball Association, has officially presented medals which will be presented to this season's winners in the competition's grand final. The official presentation, along with the handing over of the medals, was done by Trophy House General Manager Paul Passive, Number One House Limited team, and the Port Moresby Basketball Association Board Committee.
Moresby Basketball Association has received medals by Number One Trophy Limited Group of Company today. The presentation was witnessed by General Managers of NWHL Group of Company and Port Moresby Basketball Association, along with their board members. Trophy House General Manager Paul Passive, upon speaking to EMTV, emphasized that this is a first-of-its-kind involvement for his organization and they look forward to strengthening this partnership with POMBA in the coming years.
Trophy House is proud to be the sponsor of Port Moresby Basketball Association Grand Final trophies for this year. This is just a start. I hope that there's going to be more events that we could work on together in the coming years.
Upon acknowledging the medal presentation, POMBA General Manager Sleeve Mohu shared a few words on behalf of the association.
Firstly, we would like to say thank you to Number One Trophy for the sponsorship of trophies for 2022 Grand Final, which will be held on November 9th. And we're very grateful.
Mr. Mohu also presented a highlight on the association's ladder and the general performance throughout the season.
I'm happy with the ladies' chariots. They are on standby for Grand Final. For the men's, it's tomorrow's. We have semis next week, Wednesday, on the 2nd of November.
Meanwhile, the Port Moresby Basketball Association will officially kick off its semi-finals playoff next Wednesday at the Tauranga Aquatic and Indoor Center. Lisa Puni, Chukai Sports.
That concludes Chukai Sports. The Morning Plus weather report for the next 24 hours is next. Stay with us.
Chukai Sports. Chukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
Weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Southern region, Port Moresby fine and Port Pondetta mostly fine.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Friday, the 28th of October 2022. From all of us here, have a safe and enjoyable weekend. Bye for now.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start breakfast biscuits, and Gold Nuggets.